coverage from a reliable source.
Hey players, good morning players, good morning players, all players, hey players, Musty, Marjorie, Frumpy Duck. This is incitement of an insurrection. They suspended her without explanation. This witness wasn't shown on camera because she was underage, and a spokesperson for Mayor Jacob Fry said to the motherfucking dog, and the mariachi band being placed outside of his house. This is Double Dee reporter for the Black Green News, where I'm black and the news is always accurate. Player, grab your teacup. It's time for Real Tea with Double Dee. Hey players, welcome to a brand new episode of the Real Tea with Double Dee. Of course, I am Double Dee and we are on the GSMC Podcasting Network. I'm excited again to be with you all tonight. This is my second time this week. I think I'm going for a record. But it has been a jam-packed news day, so I felt like I needed to come on here and spill my guts because those little 3 minutes that I have on TikTok just don't be enough. So I am recording a brand new episode of my podcast. I just want to let everybody out there in Facebook land know and YouTube land know that I am recording. I will try to talk to you guys. Kind of try to converse back and forth with you, but don't get offended if I don't, because I'm recording the podcast and I don't want my listeners on my podcast to feel left out. So thank you all for joining. I hope you guys enjoy it. We have a huge news day. Today is October 20th. It is 9:55 p.m. where I am, and I'm telling you, this fall weather has now gotten me. This weather has gotten me, and I'm starting to feel a little bad. My kids are both in daycare this week, and I'm telling you, I can really tell that my daughter's in daycare because she has a runny nose, and I think that she's passing it to me. My children are very lovable kids, and they love to kiss and hug and stuff. And when they have the runny noses, I swear they pass it to me first, and then they pass it over to their father. So I am feeling a little stuffy. So if you hear me, I sound like I'm talking, I'm real stuffy. It's because I'm starting to feel that, and I'm sorry about that. But y'all, I got some stuff to talk about, honey, because I'm telling you, this shit that went down with the House Rules Committee today, y'all got to see this to believe it. Because when I tell you, honey, it was so juicy and so good. That is part of the reason why I love politics, because I'm telling you, it can be messy. And I'm here for it all, bitch. So, again, I'm going to speak to everybody out there in Facebook land and YouTube land. Thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming so much. Now, let's get into the tea. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about is Brian Laundrie. We're going to go ahead and talk about that first because I did want to highlight that and kind of talk about what exactly happened. So, from everything that I've gathered, today they decided to search this Carlton Reserve, okay? But his parents decided to come out and search with them, assist with the search. Now, I don't know what prompted this. No one knows what prompted them to decide to help all of a sudden, because if you have been following this case, you know that they have not been very helpful at all. In fact, Brian had been home for several weeks and they hadn't even reported Gabby missing, and Gabby lived with them, and he was in Gabby's vehicle, and they did not even report her missing. Her parents actually had to report her missing. So they have been very suspect from the beginning, and they have been receiving some backlash because of the way that they have handled this situation. And honestly, as all these reports are coming out, if you guys haven't checked out that Dr. Phil episode where Gabby's parents was actually on there before her remains were found, then you should watch it, because they talk about how his family hasn't been helpful at all. In fact, they stopped answering the phone for them altogether. So the fact that they would come out today and search, I mean, I'm just going to be honest and I'm just going to keep it 100 with you all. That looks kind of sus that all of a sudden some belongings that belong to him were found, and also some human remains. So, what was found at first was this backpack, and in this backpack, there's supposed to be some type of notebook that they identified as Brian Laundrie. Okay, so they called out the Sarasota medical examiners, and when they called out the medical examiners, they went down. They also brought out a cadaver dog, and that's when they discovered the human remains. Now, the FBI, that investigator, that did the press conference today, he said that area was covered in water. So, and it just recently drained. So they have been searching that area, and that area was actually covered in water. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of something like that, but if you're searching an area for a body and you see a body of water there, wouldn't you call in like a dive team? I know I've seen that, to like search this particular area. Like, it just seems really suspect that all of a sudden, these remains show up, especially after the parents, who have been acting so suspicious, come out to search. It seems kind of funky, and I'm ready to see what comes out of this. So, like, a couple of hours after the remains were found, I didn't witness, but I saw it on the internet that the medical examiner actually left with the remains to go ahead and start the autopsy. And there has been all type of speculation on what is going on. How did this happen? There's been a lot of speculation there. So I just want you guys to check out. I actually got a clip for you because I'm the queen of clips, honey. So I got a clip for you tonight. Actually, Chris Cuomo had on the Gabby Petito's family's attorney. So we're just going to listen to a little bit of that, and then we'll talk about it.
No, you don't have to be a lawyer to be suspicious. When somebody won't cooperate with looking for someone they supposedly care about, what is the good reason that they wouldn't want to speak to authorities or to their son's fiance's family?
You can label it good reason, but I can tell you the reason. I told them not to.
And the question becomes, who doesn't talk unless they have something to hide?
And you know what? You hear a lot of talk these days about, individual rights. Some people want First Amendment rights. Some people want Second Amendment rights. Conveniently, the public seems to forget about the Fourth, the Fifth, and the Sixth Amendment rights. And you know what? Defense attorneys, and I would say every attorney, including yourself, should push those rights. Some of the experts that have been on these programs, they all espouse, this, and this. But they don't step up and say, hey, you know what? Everybody has the right to remain silent, and that's what I told my clients, and that's what they did.
There's no question they have the right. I've never suggested anything else. But having a right and something being the right thing to do are often different. Now, it has been mentioned that if and when Brian Laundrie is found, then the parents will explain the situation. If this is Brian Laundrie and he is gone, will the parents tell what they knew?
Well, now's not the time to discuss that, Chris. It may come out in the future. It may not. Right now, we're just going to wait for the forensic results, as I said earlier. And, we may come back on that subject sometime in the future.
You've known the family a long time, yes?
Well over 20 years.
Is it hard for them to follow your advice?
Hard? No. I've never had clients follow my advice so intently.
But you know what I'm saying? This is hard advice to follow. Not to talk to the Petitos, not to talk to anybody about what happened. This is not easy to do, I'm sure.
No, it's not.
They know the weight of expectation, and they know how it makes them look.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They know the weight. They know it's been hard. But ultimately, this is the advice I gave them. This is the advice they're taking, and that's on me. And I took.
So that was the Laundrie family attorney. He says that he gave them advice to not speak to anyone regarding the case. So that's why they have not been speaking. I don't know when they got this attorney. I don't know if they got this attorney in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like when this young girl didn't come back. I know that when they went to go question Brian Laundrie had already retained an attorney. I just don't understand that. If you have nothing to hide, you have someone that was living in your home, that was engaged to your son, that is missing, and you want to do nothing. You don't even want to help them in locating her. Then you don't even want to help them locate your supposed lost son. And I'm putting up the air quotations as I'm saying this. Child, this whole situation is sus, and I declare it is a disgrace, and I don't like it at all. I really don't like it. That attorney is full of shit, Trina, and it really makes absolutely no sense. You know, if you have nothing to hide, just like Chris said, then why the hell are you not talking? It makes absolutely no sense. So this entire situation is very sus. The attorney is sus. If anything, the attorney could have gave them the advice, okay, we could go down and talk to investigators, but let me go with you. So that way I don't incriminate, that way you guys don't incriminate yourself. I can stop you if you're going to answer a question that I don't want you to answer or something to that effect. But for you to do absolutely nothing, I mean, that is completely crazy. And I don't understand that at all. It really makes them look bad. And even if they had nothing to do with this and they actually don't know nothing about it, they will forever be looked at terribly because of this. Because Gabby Petito is America's darling at this point. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they did absolutely nothing, they're going to have to go away and never kind of come back. Kind of like Casey Anthony's parents, when they were trying to protect Casey Anthony and saying that Casey Anthony didn't do anything to little Kaylee and all this kind of stuff. It is the same exact thing. And listen, if I know my babies are young, but if my son had a girlfriend a fiance that lived in the house with us, and then they go on this trip and they come back and the girl isn't with them, I'm going to be giving this motherfucker the side eye like, boy, what did you do with this girl? Where the hell is she? You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely not going to let you run away from your responsibility. You did it, so you need to take responsibility for it. Do they not have, it's like they have absolutely no loyalty to the girl, the fiance, Gabby, that lived with them, that they possibly cared for. It makes absolutely no sense. It's crazy. So it's going to be just like the Casey Anthony situation with their parents, with her parents, that they had to basically go away because they were defending Casey Anthony when they knew deep inside that Casey Anthony had done something to little Kaylee. And I watched a special of theirs about 3 or 4 years ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 years ago. And they said that was something that they highly regret. And they don't even have any contact with Casey Anthony anymore, at least a couple of years ago. So it's definitely a side eye situation. It's definitely a sus situation. And I'm going to be watching to see what comes out in the Washington arrangement. If it depends on, now they didn't indicate like how much deterioration, like how much decomposing this body had done. They didn't say whether they're going to have to use DNA, if they're going to have to use, dental records and all of that stuff, at least to get an initial identification. So that's important to know, but they didn't indicate any of that today. So hopefully we'll get some information about that tomorrow. How long, maybe we possibly know what kind of forensics that they're going to have to do to actually do an identification on these human remains. I mean, I've heard all kind of shit, so we'll see exactly what happens. But I'm going to keep an eye on it, honey. Now, let's move on over to the ooey gooey because I got a lot of clips to play and we got a lot of listening to do. I'm going to suggest to you all before I play this that you guys turn your volume down just a little bit. I don't have any control over how loud these clips are, and because Jim Jordan was yelling, it's gonna be kind of loud. Jim Jordan was yelling, and then also Jamie Raskin and Matt Gaetz were actually yelling back and forth at each other. So I would suggest that you just turn your volume down just a little bit, so that way you don't get blasted by these clips. Okay, I'm trying to protect my listeners' beautiful ears because I want y'all to be able to keep listening to me. Okay. So let's move on over. So today we have the House Rules Committee actually had to bring up the resolution to recommend that Steve Bannon actually be held in contempt of Congress, basically for not complying with the subpoenas with the Select Committee. Honey, this thing turned into a shit show. But, it wasn't a shit show in a bad way, because I love any time that Jim Jordan gets to get the business, because he's always yelling, acting like a buffoon. And I loved any time that the privileged pervert gets to get the business, because he deserves it. And they were the only two. It's quite ironic that, any members of the House of Representatives could have came to this hearing today to testify, basically supporting Steve Bannon. Any of them could have came, but it was just quite strange to me that the two perverts were the one to show up hand in hand to protect their buddy. So they came up there, honey, and it was a hot boo shitty mess. Now we're gonna start off with Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan came up there. Well, no, I'm sorry. Let me backpedal and pussy pop. We're not going to start with Jim Jordan. We're going to start with Representative Norma Torres. Now, this was the very first thing that happened. And she had, in my opinion, it was a nice subliminal message that she had. She was throwing them subs around for Jim Jordan and the privileged pervert. And this was lovely. She is a representative from California. Y'all check this out. I fucking love it here.
People died. This is not about somebody being sexually assaulted or somebody paying to have sex with a young girl or somebody not, protecting people that are under their jurisdiction. This is about our democracy.
Oh, yes, honey. You heard what she said. This ain't about somebody paying for some ass. Yeah. Norma Torres, she tickled me. This ain't about somebody paying for some ass. This is about people died, and this is about our democracy. This ain't about all that. So just go ahead and put all the bullshit to the side, and let's go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty and stop fucking around before y'all found out. I must say, honey, that was perfect. And you know what? That's something that old Double Dee would have done. I would have done something like that, honey. She said, this isn't about somebody paying for some ass. This ain't about somebody paying for some ass that shook it for cash. This is about the democracy, okay? And we need to talk about it. So, child, that was perfect. So let's skip on over here. Now we're gonna do Jim Jordan's stinking ass first, because he was hollering, and I really want to get his funky ass out the way. So this is Jim Jordan's argument. Y'all take a listen to this.
The actions of the January 6th committee, I believe, are a complete assault on Americans' liberty. There have been 4 batches of subpoenas issued. 4 batches. The one we're talking about today, Mr. Bannon, Mr. Meadows, Mr. Patel, Mr. Scavino. Second one to Mr. Clark, employee at DOJ, former employee at DOJ. The 3rd batch to organizers of some other rally. I didn't know about that happened that day. And then there's been subpoenas issued to 11 individuals, 11 American citizens, who asked the government for permission on an application to hold the Trump rally. Now think about this. They put their names on an application. The government asked them to do that. They give that application to the government granted it, and now the January 6th committee petitions them to ask them questions about exercising their First Amendment right to assemble.
I just don't understand how this dumb Diddy doesn't get that they are trying to figure out what happened from the rooter to the tutor. So if they need to ask these people who actually, that goes hand in hand. So if they need to ask the actual people that organized the event, what the fuck is wrong with it? It's kind of like if you organize a concert. And no, if you have a party at your house and all of a sudden shit break out into a big old fight, who the hell you think they're going to ask about what the hell happened? They going to come to the owners and the person who had the damn party. They going to come to their asses as well as the people that was doing the damn that was doing the damn fighting and acting a fool. Baby, Jim Jordan got his funky ass up there trying to act to feign ignorance when your dumb Diddy ass knew exactly what you was doing. Child, this is all they're trying to act like the House Select Committee is actually doing something egregious by asking Steve Bannon to come and testify about what the hell happened. He helped organize the the event. He has admitted that he's had communications with Frumpy Dump. What the fuck is wrong with them asking this man what the hell went on? You know what's wrong with it? They don't want them to find out what really happened. Let's get to the second part of Jim Jordan, because you know he can't do anything without bringing up BLM. Well, let me say not BLM, but the summer of 2020. Check this out, y'all.
This double standard. You guys get to say all the things you did about Trump for 4 years. You get to have the summer of 2020 and call it peaceful protest. We condemn violence every single time. It'd have been nice if you guys had done the same. I am so sick of the double standard. Americans are so sick of the double standard.
Well, I think many of us did condemn it. I condemn violence wherever it may occur. But, you know, let me just say this. You can yell and scream as much as you want. The bottom line is,
no, I'm not yelling and screaming.
We saw what we saw.
I'm reflecting where the American people are. They've had it with the double standard.
American people saw.
You're allowed to object. We're not.
No, you could object. That's not the issue. Is not whether or not you raised an objection, Mr. Jordan. The issue is what transpired that day. The issue is that after all, we had nothing to do with that. We'll see. We'll see what the investigation leads. But after all of this time, still, you know, you cannot say those 5 words that the election was not stolen. With that, I'm happy to yield to the
Baby, don't fuck around with the fuck around. That was Mr. McGovern, honey, and he don't play no games. He was taking down names and kicking ass. He said, look, after all this time, you still can't tell us that Frumpy Dump lost the election, that the election wasn't stolen. Jim Jordan all frilling around, mouth all wet and moist. For what? What is your mouth all wet and moist for? Honey, if you don't sit your stinking ass down and shut the hell up, baby, I hate it here. I just can't take it anymore. Child, so let me get to the last part of his testimony. Well, there's a couple more, but I want you guys to take a listen to, my boy Jamie Raskin. You know, I have been having a secret love for Jamie Raskin for quite some time now. Ever since I seen the way he handled that impeachment trial, I have really been loving him. And then to hear him, he had the unfortunate event where his son actually committed suicide. So, I have been loving him, but the way that he handled the impeachment trial just really made me look at him and just flutter my eyelashes. And today, honey, he did not disappoint me at all. Y'all take a look at this.
Important that when we're exercising our Article 1 powers to get the evidence we need in order to legislate, that people obey the subpoenas of the United States House of Representatives. You used to believe that, Mr. Jordan. Do you no longer believe that?
Once a legitimate investigation, sure.
All right.
Sure.
In 2012, the Oversight Committee approved a resolution holding Attorney General Holder in contempt of Congress. Do you remember that one?
Say it again. I was thinking how I was going to elaborate on the answer when you cut me off to ask me the question again, please.
Well, continue, Mr. Jordan, because everybody's always violating your rights, so I'm going to give you all the time you want.
No one's violating my rights.
Okay. Look, let me remind you what you said when Attorney General Holder was held in criminal contempt of Congress. We simply want the facts. Because Attorney General Eric Holder will not provide what the law requires, we are left with no other option except to hold him in contempt. We're doing the exact same thing, Mr. Jordan.
No, we're
with
not.
all the bluster about the border and all the other nonsense you're talking about, Russia and everything, we are holding him in contempt for violating a subpoena of the United States House of Representatives.
There wasn't some...
Baby, was Jamie Raskin not speaking with his whole chest? When I tell you he did this for the entirety of this hearing. And I must say, I was just fluttering my little eyelashes. I was having such a good time listening to that man because he was speaking facts. Look, he said, he doing a Mo Brooks. It's time to start taking down names and kicking ass. So he did it, honey. He did it. I must say, y'all are gonna be so thoroughly impressed with him when I get to the privileged pervert. Just hold on. We got one more thing with Jim Jordan. Okay, so Jim, there. Jamie Raskin is saying that Jim Jordan didn't have a problem with holding Eric Holder in contempt of Congress, which he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Eric Holder refused to sit down and comply with the subpoena. So they actually held him in contempt, as they should. When you are not above the law because you are a member of Congress. I actually feel like it should be the kind of contempt that we get, honey. That we have to go do some time, because this is some bullshit. If you are called by Congress to go and testify, what if it was one of us? A regular American, baby, it wouldn't even take all this to get us to be held in contempt. You know what I'm saying? And Steve Bannon really is one of us. He just worked for the Frumpy Dump administration. That's the only difference, is that he worked for Frumpy Dump. But you tell me how you're going to claim executive privilege when you were not even employed. You weren't in the Frumpy Dump administration when January 6th happened. You were a regular schmegular citizen. So how the hell you gonna claim executive privilege? Child, I declare, what a disgrace. But we're going to get to that when Matt Gaetz get up there. Now, Jim Jordan, they have been asking Jim Jordan since a few days after the insurrection, did he speak with Frumpy Dump on January 6th? He always finds a way to backpedal and pussy pop out of it. He always pussyfooting around, skirting around the issue. He never, ever, ever says that he actually talked to him. So I want y'all to listen to what happened when he went on to Fox News, and this is actually going to be brought up in the House Rules Committee hearing today. So take a look at this.
The committee is obviously going to go down a number of different roads about who knew what when, who was talking to coordinators of the protest. Did you talk to the former president that day?
I've talked to the former president umpteen times, thousands. I mean, not thousands times,
on January
but countless times. I talk to the president. I never talk about what we talk about, because I just don't think that's appropriate, just like I don't talk about what happens in Republican conferences. So
Sure.
I've talked to the president numerous times. I continue to talk to the president since he's left
on
office.
January 6th, Congressman.
Yes, I've talked to the president. I've talked to the president so many. I can't remember all the days I've talked to him, but I've certainly talked to the president.
Yeah, and on that day can you share any of the insight of what he was thinking about that day?
Brett, the people we need to come testify are the people who can testify to the fundamental questions. Why didn't the United States Capitol, the People's House, have an appropriate security posture on that day, and what have we done?
You see what he did with that? You see how he pussyfooted around that? You see how he pussyfooted around that? He really didn't answer that question. So guess what? They brought it up in the House Rules Committee hearing today. And let me tell you something. That wasn't on accident. That was definitely on purpose. I can guarantee you Jim Jordan is going to be subpoenaed. Y'all take a listen to this right here, honey, because this is going to rock your world.
Mr. Jordan, on July 27th, you were asked by Brett Baer on Fox News if you talked to the former president on January 6th. And you didn't give a clear answer. You said, and I quote, "I've talked to the president so many, I can't remember all the days I've talked to him, but I've certainly talked to the president," end quote. The next day, on July 28th, you confirmed to Spectrum News that you spoke with the former president on January 6th. When asked by a Spectrum News reporter, Taylor Popolars, whether you spoke to the president before, during, or after the Capitol was attacked, you said, and I quote, "I spoke with him that day, after, I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. I have to get back to you. I don't know when those conversations happened," end quote.
Yep.
So my question is, you've had 84 days since that interview to go back and check the record. So when did you speak with the former president on January 6th? Did you talk to the former president before, during, or after the attack on the Capitol?
Of course I've talked to the president.
All three?
Of course I've talked to the president. I've been clear about that. I talk to him all the time. This is not about me, Mr. Chairman. I know you want to make it about me. You want to make it about individuals, other individuals. But this is about the lack of a proper security presence that day. That's what this committee, if this committee is going to do something that's worthwhile, that's what they should be investigating. Of course I talked to the president. I talked to him that day. I've been clear about that. I don't recall the number of times. But it's not about me. I know you want to make it about that, but this is about the, why wasn't, how about this? Why wasn't the National Guard here that day, Mr. Chairman?
If I can reclaim my time, I just want...
Have you asked that question? Have you asked the Speaker, why wasn't the National Guard here?
No, my question...
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Y'all, Y'all see how he was shuffling around in that seat like his hemorrhoids had flared up. Baby, if you don't sit your ass down, he wanted to get up and get out of that. He said, you motherfuckers trying to trap me. You trying to trap me. Why you bringing that up? Baby, his palms was sweaty like mom's spaghetti, honey. Did y'all see it? You see him try. He got his little arms up. He braced the side of the chair like he was finna get up and haul ass out of there. Mr. McGovern said, calm down, killer. Answer the damn question. I must say, honey, I can't wait to see his ass go down. I cannot wait to see his ass go down. Glenda, that is a good question. What you just asked, and I'm going to answer it for everybody. You said, I thought if a person is subpoenaed and they don't comply, that they go to jail. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that answer, but I thought, I just thought we kind of discussed it a little bit. I don't know what would happen to Steve Bannon if the Justice Department, because what's going to happen now is that they're going to refer this over to, after the House votes on it Thursday as a whole and it passes, that they will send this over to the Justice Department. I don't know what happens. I mean, this is a criminal contempt of Congress. So I don't know if he will actually serve jail time. I'm not sure what will happen with that, but I can guarantee you this, Glenda, I will research it and I will try to find out what's going on, what happens, because I don't know if this is going to be some type of precedent set or what. I don't know if this is going to, if Steve Bannon comes at the 11th hour before they refer it to the Justice Department, and he says kind of similar to what Eric Holder did, will it be rescinded and he doesn't get any jail time? So that was a good question, and that was a good sentiment, and I just wanted to get with that. Get an answer to that, because I really don't know. But child, that damn Jim Jordan, that is crazy as hell. And I must say, I fucking love it here. Now look, let's get over to the privileged pervert, because I'm running out of time here. Okay, the privileged pervert, he's up next. Let's listen to him and what his argument is.
Mr. Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the chance to be in the Rules Committee. I don't frequent this room, but I feel quite at home with so many of my colleagues from the Judiciary Committee also serving on this panel. Mr. Chairman, January 6th was not a good day. But to my knowledge, there's been no charge of insurrection or terrorism. Largely, the charges that have been levied against those who were involved in breaking the law result in property damage charges. And it's my expectation that if there are folks who broke the law, they should be treated no better or no worse than anyone else who breaks these particular laws. But all of this is ridiculous. Mr. Chairman, the American people are in trouble. I was recently...
Okay, let me let y'all listen to one more from him.
The average American, when they wake up, I don't think one of the first 100 things they think about is Steve Bannon's podcast, the things he said before or after January 6th. I think that is a uniquely Washington obsession. And it wouldn't be so damaging to our country if it wasn't absorbing the capacity of the Congress to meet the actual challenges that the American people are facing. I mean, do you really think that your constituents are out there hoping that you guys are here sharing your hot takes on Steve Bannon's podcast rather than dealing with the inflation that is crushing them, the border crisis that is concerning them?
Okay, so there goes Matt. So he's going to try to pussyfoot around this. He's going to try to say, oh, well, we need to be worried about the border, and we need to be worried about supply and the demand. Your constituents aren't worried about this. I guarantee you that the constituents aren't worried about this fucking stop the steal bullshit that you've been going around here. What is it? No. America First rally. I'm pretty sure they're not worried about that. And it's clear that they're not worried about that because they weren't buying any motherfucking tickets and they weren't giving you any donations. That's why you and Musty Marjorie's campaigning together is pretty much over, because y'all asses are dead broke. You only got $13,000 of money left over after you've been campaigning since February. I believe it was Charlie Booker. He actually collected $8.5 million in donations in the first half. You motherfuckers are damn near in the red at 13,000. But you weren't. But all of a sudden now, the privileged pervert is worried about the constituents. The privileged pervert ain't worried about the constituents. The privileged pervert is worried about what's coming out in the Washington narration of this and how his motherfucking ass gonna be put on a chopping block. I am so sick and tired of him. He makes me fucking sick. Let me let y'all hear what happened when Jamie got a hold of that ass.
Mr. Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Wrong one. Shit.
Whether or not there's an adequate remedy, and I think also a number of those cases were kicked on remedies.
No court has said that fraud existed, and so there's no remedy because there's no violation, Mr. Gates.
Right, but you cannot.
There's no violation. There's no fraud.
That there was no fraud if they didn't take up the question and review the facts on jurisdiction or remedy.
You know what? That might work on Steve Bannon's podcast, but that's not going to work in the Rules Committee of the United States House of Representatives. I'm sorry, Mr. Gates, forgive me. I've got some serious questions to ask you. The chairman of the January 6th committee, Chairman Thompson, and John Katko, who was the emissary of Kevin McCarthy, negotiated an agreement for an independent outside commission with 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, equal subpoena power, right down the middle. And yet Donald Trump decided he didn't like it because he doesn't want anybody investigating January the 6th. So he turned against it, and then the Republican leadership flipped over and turned against it. I think you voted against that commission. Why did you vote against that commission?
For many of the reasons that I've discussed today, that the focus on January 6th,
so you don't want to know,
is unwarranted.
You don't want to know anymore.
I think we have.
Okay, let me ask you about that.
We have a process in Article 3 where the courts get to determine those issues. If the United States government brings charges, people can resolve those in the courts.
You don't want to know.
That's not okay with you guys because you want to politicize it because you.
I know you too well for this. You don't want to know the answer.
Baby, Jamie Raskin was on. Don't even try to argue with me, okay? Argue with your mama, not me. Jamie Raskin was on today. I swear the privileged pervert up here trying to say, oh, well, the American people don't want to know about it. Oh, no, you don't want to know about it. And the frumpied up tank sniffers don't want to know about it. And all the people that supported frumpied up in this fuck shit don't want to know about it. The GQP doesn't want to know about it because they know that this is going to make them look bad and they're going to lose voters along the way. That's what's really going on. And I must say that right there, that hearing today was a complete slaughter. And if this is any indication on how the House Select Committee is going to be moving forward, because you know Jamie Raskin is on that committee, if this is any indication on how it's going to be moving forward, baby, old Double Dee mother going to be in the mix with my popcorn and my tea, ready to enjoy the show, because this is going to be good. And you can't tell me it's not, honey. Baby, look, I thought that Jamie Raskin was going to come across that table, honey. Baby, he not playing. He said, you don't even know what the hell you talking about. I am a lawyer. You are not. Baby, I fucking love it here. That was really, really good. I really was impressed with that. So this news, the resolution is to provide for consideration of the report finding Stephen K. Bannon in contempt of Congress passes at the House Rules Committee, and it now goes to the House floor for vote. Again, it goes to the House floor for vote tomorrow. So we will definitely be watching this. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram and here on Facebook if you are not, so that way you can keep up with the day-to-day news with me whenever I don't come and report on TikTok. Now we're going to move over to the last news of the night. I'm not even going to cut this off. I'm just going to keep on rolling because I'm enjoying myself. So Frumpy Dump has announced a new social media network called, y'all ain't going to believe what it's called. And no, it's not called Taint Sniffers Social Network, although it really would steal my woo if it was called that. He's calling it Truth Social. Now, for someone who doesn't like big tech and who actually tried to take big tech down, he damn sure wants to join in on the shenanigans. Now, at first he was endorsing Getter, and now he has started his own, and he's calling it Truth Social. He says, I created Truth Social and TMTG, which is the Trump Media and Technology Group. So this is the announcement of 2 new businesses for him. Quite strange he's doing this while his Frumpy Dump organization has just been caught up in another criminal probe, but we'll get to that later. So he says I created Trump Social TMTG to stand up to the big tyranny of big tech. We live in a world where the Taliban has a huge presence on Twitter, yet your favorite American president has been silenced. This is I'm sorry. This is unacceptable. So Frumpy Dump has launched that. He says that this is actually going to be, it's being funded by DWAC cash in trust of $293 million. And Trump Social plans to begin its beta launch for invited guests in November of 2021. A nationwide rollout is expected in the first quarter of 2022. Those who are interested in joining Truth Social may now visit www.truthsocial.com to sign up for the invite list. I don't want no bugs on my computer or my phone, so I'm not going to sign up for that just to be nosy. I'll just wait to see what comes out on Twitter. But yeah, honey, he sure has started another one now. I'm wondering, I'm pretty sure it's going to be just like Parler was. It's going to be a cesspool and a way for these people to get together and plan their fuckery and their bullshit. And it's going to be a hot boo-boo shitty mess. And I declare, honey, what a fucking disgrace. Now, he hates big tech, but he damn sure don't like getting that money from big tech. But I digress. So, now, the next thing, now he's creating and launching a new business, but the Trump Organization is now facing a new criminal inquiry tied to the New York Golf Club. Now, y'all know they pulled the big golf tournament from the golf course. They actually pulled that from there, but now he's facing a new inquiry regarding, of course, the finances. The investigation is by the Westchester District Attorney Miriam Rocha. I hope I'm saying that right. Y'all know me. I'll fuck up somebody's name in a minute. Her name is Miriam Rocha, and she's examined the property values at Trump National Golf Club in Westchester, north of New York. A source with knowledge of the investigation has confirmed that the town collects local taxes from the course. And of course, Frumpy Dump did not. He inflated his taxes when he ran for president, and also when he was on his way out. He inflated, not to inflate the taxes, but he inflated the value on his assets that he had to release to the American people. But when he released it, when he told them what his assets were, the Westchester city, when he told them what their his assets was, he actually decreased the value. I'm gonna let Rachel Maddow explain this better than me, because y'all know a player be fucking up, and I'm getting a little tired. Rachel Maddow, take it away from me, player.
The numbers here are sort of easy to keep in your head. The town is telling him to pay taxes on a golf course that they say is worth $15 million. He's saying, no, I won't. It's only worth $1.4 million. But that same year in 2016, he files his financial disclosure statement as a presidential candidate. He files it in May 2016. United States Office of Government Ethics, Executive Branch Personnel, Public Financial Disclosure Report. The town said the golf course, again, was worth $15 million. He said, no, I'm not paying taxes on a $15 million property. It's only worth $1.4 million. But look at what he put in his official financial disclosure that same year. His official financial disclosure, line item 93, Trump National Golf Club, Westchester County. Value? Over $50 million. So to one part of the government, he's telling them this golf course is worth over $50 million. But for the tax authorities, he's saying it's $1.4 million. How can something simultaneously be worth over $50 million, according to Trump, and only $1.4 million, also according to Trump? How can that be true at the same time?
Frumpy Dump is in again. Tax fraud. So they have now opened an investigation. Y'all know he still got that investigation in Manhattan that is going on. Then on top of that, Frumpy Dump has his CFO is actually under a criminal indictment. He has so much going on. Hey, Donna, don't be coming up in here talking about Rachel killing it. I like Rachel too, but I'm good too. Come on, Donna. Somebody came up in here to talk about they love Rachel. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to put you on the spot. Look at her, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm just playing. But anyway, so I mean, this is Frumpy Dump's MO though. This is how he's skirted around things all his life. But I'm telling y'all, I made a video on TikTok about this right after his funky ass lost the presidency last year. Frumpy Dump is going to regret running for president, because just think about it. All these years he has been inflating his net worth. That's the reason why he's been able to make the Forbes 400 list for 25 years. He's been inflating it. He missed it this year for the first time, because this is probably the first year that his ass has had to somewhat tell the truth. You see what I'm saying? So now everything is coming out in the washing and the raging. Everything that Frumpy Dump was doing when he was a regular citizen who claimed to be a billionaire is coming out that he's not, that he does not know how to handle his finances, and that should have been clear anyway by the many a times he has filed bankruptcy. You know, I just don't understand. I don't understand how this man would, people would want him to get 4 more years, how people even gave him the time of day in the first place. But this is my sentiment on that. People were so mad that we had an African-American president, which was President Barack Obama, that they went out and got the most clowniest clown to be the new president because they wanted to get back at us. And Frumpy Dump was next up on the list. And this is just completely disgusting and disgraceful that this man has been allowed all these years to pay pennies for taxes, do all this criminal shit, taking advantage of women, all the things that he's done. And he goes and he runs for president, and he thinks that he's going to be able to continue to get away with this shit. Honestly, and a part of me is saying that some of this stuff he will be able to get away with, but not all of it. He's going to have to have some consequences for some of it. And I can't wait to see what comes out in the washing and the raging of it. I just want to see him. I know for a fact that he's going to have to settle this New York lawsuit, the one that was brought by the Mexican group, the protesters. He's going to have to settle that. He was just under deposition the other day. He pretty much just barely made his way through that without incriminating himself. I believe he must have said, I don't recall. I don't know how many times, at least that's what I saw, that Zoe Tillman said. She's the one that covers this kind of stuff on Twitter. So his deposition is not public yet, so I didn't hear it. But child, I can't wait to see something happen to him. And because it is deserved. He has gotten away with everything probably his entire freaking life. His daddy gave him money to start a business, and he did not do well in that business. Frumpy Dump has never been doing well, but he has pretended and basically faked the funk this entire time. He's Elizabeth Holmes. If y'all don't know who Elizabeth Holmes is, she is the girl that faked Theranos. Got billions and billions of dollars from all of these investors. I mean, crazy. And come to find out, she did she didn't even have the product that she said that she had that was supposed to be worth all of this money. And she's on trial right now. Y'all know I've been watching that. Y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of The Real Tea with Double D. I definitely enjoyed it. I have been recording this entire time, and I'm really only supposed to give you all just a little, and I'm supposed to make you listen to the rest of it on my podcast. But I'm not going to, I couldn't do it tonight because I was just enjoying having you all here. I think I record these better when I have an audience. So I just enjoy having you all. I thank y'all so much for your support, and make sure that you like this video if you can. And if you're not following me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, I'm the Real Double D Mother on TikTok and Double D Mother across all platforms. So make sure that you're following me. Also, if you have access to Apple, Spotify, any of those, go and follow my podcast just in case there's an episode that I don't record all the way through so you don't miss it. And if you want to check this out and want to re-listen to it, please go and re-listen to it. Support me in any possible way that you can. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start back begging for, otherwise I'm going to have to be begging for money. And y'all don't want me to do that. So please support me any way that you can. I really appreciate it. And you guys make sure you have a lovely night, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining The Real Tea with Double D, and y'all have a good one.